So how do you build an engaged following on Instagram? Hello YouTube, I'm Trent Dyrsmid, and not too long ago I decided to make building a highly engaged following on Instagram a top priority for my business. So far the results have been terrific, and in today's video I'm going to walk you through step by step through the exact process that I'm using. In fact, I'm even going to give you a copy of my process completely for free. Sound good? Smash that like button and let's get started. Now, before we dive into all the nitty-gritty of all the specific activities that have been working for me and for the others that I've followed, I first want to share with you why I think having an engaged audience on Instagram can be such a huge asset to your business. Let's consider two entrepreneurs, Dave and Bob. Dave is a very clever entrepreneur, and he recognized early on that creating an engaged audience on Instagram was going to be a very good use of his time. So rather than create his new line of super widgets in a vacuum, Dave decided to involve his Instagram followers in the entire journey, all the way from his early prototypes right the way through to his Kickstarter campaign. Now, by doing so, Dave was able to get feedback on logo designs, his packaging, his product design, and so much more. As a result of all his transparency, Dave created a great deal of anticipation for his product, and when it went up for sale, with the help of his followers, Dave blew right through his Kickstarter funding goal. Bob, unfortunately, is not nearly as clever as Dave, and instead of putting time into building an engaged audience on Instagram during the product development phase, Bob took the more paranoid approach and kept everything a total secret. As a result of Bob's not bothering to share any part of his journey, Bob was left to take his best guess at logo design, packaging, key product features, and as you might guess, Bob's assumptions were all wrong. When it came time for Bob's Kickstarter campaign and Amazon launch, well, let's just say that things didn't go as well as Bob had hoped. So now that you have an understanding of how valuable having an engaged audience on Instagram can be, I'm going to share my screen with you and walk you through the exact step-by-step process that I'm using. And the best part is that if you like this process, there's a link right down below in the description for how you can get a copy of this entire process for free. Holy moly! Yes, that's right. You can have my process for free. All I ask in return is that you comment, like, or share on my video. Sound good?
So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the Flowster standard operating procedure that I am using to build my Instagram following, and so far it seems to be working quite well. You can get a free copy of this entire SOP simply by going to the Flowster homepage. If you scroll down to the section that says get our free SOPs, you'll find it. So just a quick little there, that button right there will take you to a page where all of our free SOPs are, and the library of SOPs that are free is going to continue to expand. So I'd encourage you to check back often. Before we dive into this, I do want to give credits. So the content in this SOP was not of all of my own creation. Obviously, there are lots of folks who have been far more successful on Instagram than I have. So we went out and did a whole bunch of research and looked at all of these pieces of content. And I would encourage you, if you, as you're working your way through this SOP, if you want to get even more detail than perhaps we've covered in the SOP, that you go ahead and visit all of these particular URLs. So with that said, step one, you want to define your customer persona. So we have 3 steps for that. Step number 1 is defining your target audience. And again, I'm not going to read you through all of these things. I'm just going to give you a high-level overview. So at the end of this, you want to type in information about your target audience. Step number 2 of defining your customer persona is monitoring industry social conversations. And here we have provided you a whole bunch of links on how you can do that, as well as a place for you to store some of that information for you as you're going through this. And then step number 3 of defining your customer persona is to aggregate your data. And again, we have instructions here on how to do that. Once you've done that, the next major phase is going to be a posting schedule. So you're going to need to create an editorial calendar. And here we have instructions on how you can do that. Then you're going to do some competitive analysis. And here we have 2 steps. One is finding your competitors. And here we have a set of instructions on how you can find competitors. And then, of course, you're going to need to analyze your competitors. And so we have steps here that will guide you through the process of analyzing those particular competitors. So now we're at the point where we want to gain followers. So we have 4 steps in the standard operating procedure for gaining followers. Number 1 is put yourself out there. So we have steps described here for how you can do that. Number 2 is to like posts, which is pretty self-explanatory, but we've got a couple of instructions there. Commenting on the post, again, a few more instructions, and then following the people that created those posts, because oftentimes when you do that, you'll find that they follow you back. Now, I actually don't do a whole lot of following, but I do make extensive use of hashtags. And every time I publish a post with a suite of hashtags, which I'll cover here in just a minute on how I do that, I notice right away anywhere from 5 to 10 new followers. So using the right hashtags is the next step. We have 4 steps within that. The first one is to be strategic. So again, we have a set of instructions on what it is to be strategic and how to do it, and then be relevant. And there's actually a great iOS app called Hashtags. And I would encourage that if you're an iOS user, or maybe it's available on Droid, I don't know, I'm not a Droid user, but this is a wonderful tool for helping you to discover relevant hashtags. You'll also want to, wherever possible, capitalize on some trending topics. And we've got a tool here from Sprout Social that will give you further guidance on that. And then you want to customize hashtags to your audience. And we have some instructions and yet another tool that will help you to do that. So now we have a section on using paid ads to amplify your reach. So there's instructions on how to understand the different type of ads on Instagram, instructions on how to choose the purpose of your ads. We have instructions on how to set your target audience. We have instructions on how to create emotional appeal in your ads, instructions on how to create a proper call to action button. And as well, of course, if you're going to be spending money, we want to make sure that you're monitoring your ads, and we have a small set of instructions for that. And then you want to make your account shareable. So here are some instructions on helping you to understand the Instagram algorithm, how to optimize your Instagram account, how to host contests on Instagram. We have a number of instructions and some further tools and posts on that, how to invite guest bloggers, how to ask questions, how to think outside the box, and how to put some creative videos onto your Instagram account. And then finally, the takeaway, we have a small set of instructions on how to give value to your audience. So as you can see, there's a wonderful set of standard operating procedures here that you can use to help build your Instagram following. And you can get this SOP completely for free just by going to the homepage of Flowster, and that's at Flowster.app, scrolling down until you find the one that you are looking for. And as I mentioned earlier, we're continuing to add more free SOPs here, and so I would encourage you to check back often.
As I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to download this system, you can do that using the link that is right down below in the video description. If you want even more of all my free training material, make sure you go to brightideas.co/insiders, and I will direct you to some super secret insider-only free trading resources. And finally, if you have questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. I will give you an answer. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so I can say hello to you in my next video.